I will be a rap star or die trying. Remember death. Go have your grand adventure. I've got tears in my eyes because I'm alive. A gazillion galaxies sprung from the one. Millions of mutations, then life begun. Billions of years of living evolution. Thousands of ancestors succeed at procreation. Millions of seedlings swam to be this one. The stars aligned perfectly to make me their son. The sheer unlikeliness of my life, my mere inability to accept demise. I've got tears in my eyes because I'm alive. I've got tears in my eyes because I'm alive. I've got tears in my eyes because I'm alive. I've got tears in my eyes.
2 years ago, I was lost. I'd lost my baby, lost my money, lost my sanity. I stood on the ledge, and I thought about tossing myself off the edge to pay the ultimate cost. I felt my heart race, and the wind rush across my face. Then, nothing. I laughed hysterically, and it shocked me to do so. But the thought of ending my own life also meant the end of my suffering. But as I continued to play this dark fantasy out in my mind, a mother and her daughter approached on the path, and I imagined them discovering my now lifeless body and the impact that that would have on them. Of course, they're mortified, they're shocked. The mother pulls the daughter away, covering her eyes while she dials 911, and then just a moment later, the police arrive and wrap my body in a sheet. And they reach out to my emergency contact, who's my little brother. And of course, he's devastated to hear the news. Perhaps he's angry at me or even feels guilty. And what's worse is he now has to reach out to my closest friends and family to let them know exactly what happened, to let them know what I've done. So everybody who hears the news is obviously very devastated about what I've done. And even in years in the future, anytime that my name is evoked, it creates a sense of sadness. And so even though the thought of ending my own life felt satisfying because I knew it would mean an end of my own suffering, all that I'd really be doing would be passing that burden of suffering off onto others. And so I decided in that moment, even though my life only seemed to be nothing but struggle, that I would continue to struggle. So less than 2 years later, and I've turned pain into poetry. So this was only my third time performing in public, and I did so in Austin for South by Southwest, actually a spin-off event called Pi 2K, party like it was the 2000s, and I was not expecting this crowd reaction. This hook actually came to me in a dream shortly after that bridge incident. And actually, I've had a lot of different songs come to me in dreams. And I'll show you in a future episode exactly what I mean.
expect that crowd reaction. And the more hyped the crowd got, the more hyped I got. And because of that, I get a little bit winded. God, I love watching that. I've watched this so many times. It was such a powerful and informative moment for me. And I was so hyped that I was actually supposed to do the hook again one more time, the I Still Struggle part, but I just like totally forgot. And so I cut the beat and started celebrating. Yeah. I learned something from this because, like, even though my performance was not that good, like, I've done that song so much better, and I messed up a couple of words, and I got really, really winded there in the middle, but my energy was good, and I had good rapport with the crowd, and that's what got the crowd engagement in it. Definitely the best performance experience I've had, and has gotten me really excited to perform more in the future. Gotta up my skills and not get so winded, work on my breath control. But yeah, it's coming.
Did you video that? Yeah, we got the whole
Danny, thanks for the video. Pop star. When you have been so low, so at the end of life, there is only one way to go, up. Nothing could be as bad as what I went through. So what do I have to fear now? My experience of surviving depression has made me less afraid of life. James Davies, The Importance of Suffering. Psychologist and philosopher Otto Rank, who was a contemporary of Carl Jung's, wrote in his book, Art and Artist, that he believes the two predominant forces in human life are the fear of death and the fear of life. Now, by fear of death, he didn't just mean our biological demise, but he also described psychological death, which is when an individual basically ceases to be an individual because they've become so immersed in the group, in group identity, or in belonging, that they no longer have their own individual personality or identity. This is obviously what none of us want this. We all innately recognize that we are an individual, and so we strike out to define our own individuality. And the more that we do that, the more we stand away from the crowd, the more we separate ourselves from the masses, in essence, the more isolated and the more alone we become. And so the opposite force there is the fear of life, the fear of our own individual nature and potential. And because of that, we are compelled and pushed in the other direction to conform, to belong, to be a part of something larger. And Abraham Maslow, who was, he's famous for Maslow's hierarchy of human needs, he had a pretty similar idea when he said that all individuals have an innate desire for greatness, to achieve our own individual potential. Yet, very few actually strive to achieve greatness in their life, because most of us, we fear our greatness more than we desire. We fear our greatness more than we desire it. For me personally, my mother had always instilled in me from a very young age that I was meant to do something great. I actually remember her saying those words specifically, Lennon, you're meant to do something great for humanity, numerous times throughout my childhood. And it's that image, self-image that she built up for me has been a large thrust of my life, trying to live up to that reputation she built for me. And if you look at what I've done in my life, as I look back at my life, I'm tempted to say that I've really, been an individual. I've certainly led a non-traditional life I went to university late in life. I've changed my vocational and educational pursuits numerous times. I've solo traveled to multiple countries around the world, spent years abroad, just backpacking on my own. And so there's definitely a part of me that's very individualized. But I also can admit that I've felt the fear of life numerous times in my life, where I'm afraid of my own individuality, because not only does it separate me from everyone else and creates that sense of loneliness and isolation, but also I've feared my greatness. And I've often wondered what I will do when I achieve greatness in my life. Because like everyone, I have those seedy, less desirable aspects of my personality. And for me personally, my image of greatness includes wealth, it includes fame, and those are amplifiers. So that means that whatever I'm up to, I can do more of it. And that means I could be even a bigger philanderer, a bigger womanizer, right? I could have endless girls and just roll through them with no depth or meaning in those relationships, and treat women materialistically more easily. And I could also, have an endless ability to feed my addictions. No, never-ending supply. I could always uproot and change scenarios even easier than I've done in the past. Though, through my depression, I've actually gained numerous benefits. First, feeling so isolated and alone was miserable. I've never felt so more alone in my life. And I still feel really alone, but I have gotten used to it. I don't love it, but I can do it. Even though I've always changed scenes, I was always really good at making new friends, about just, putting people in my life. And in my depression, not only does nobody want to be around such a humbug, but I just didn't have the will to do it. And so I have spent more time on my own than any other phase of my life. And I've gotten used to it. So I'm not so afraid of being alone anymore. And also, at my very worst, I was still a good person. Even though I felt like shit, I never treated anybody like shit, at least not intentionally, maybe, accidentally, but I've never acted maliciously. Not even at my worst have I sought out to harm others. And the only person I've ever, really thought extremely poorly of and really caused harm to is myself. By going through such a stark depression and being at my worst and still realizing that I'm a good person, I've learned to trust myself. And so I now believe that with wealth, fame, power, I will do what I've always done, which is predominantly good. And I'll do more of it because I have a stronger lever. And then also, I got one more note I got to look at. Accepting my desire for wealth and fame, I've empowered myself to create a really compelling life vision. I've always had some sort of vision for my life, but I've also played hopscotch in life a lot, and I've jumped from one pursuit to the next. And for the first time in my life, I finally have a vision that I believe that I can execute on for the next 10 years plus. And it's nuanced. There's lots of details into it because it's a 10-year plan. It's got to have some what do I want to say? Some checkpoints and a plan of attack. And it's really exciting. I'm freaking so stoked about the life I'm now building. I've created a vision, and that's been so fundamental in lifting me out of depression just by having this clear roadmap. This is what I want to do in my life. This is what is going to make me happy in my life. If I do this, if I'm in pursuit of this, at least, I don't necessarily have to accomplish it, but as long as I'm in pursuit, then I will find more meaning and purpose in my life. And I will go into more details about specifically what my vision is in a future episode here. But I will just say for now, I am a social entrepreneur and a rap star. Ha ha ha. Rap star. got one more important thing to talk about, and it's going to be best at a different venue. So I'm changing venues here real quick, and then I'm coming back to the park because I actually have a concert coming up in the park tonight, and I'm really excited about it. So that's going to be the grand finale. Make sure you stick around for that. And by the way, every time I drive, I rap. So I got a song coming for you.
Took a couple L's, I took a couple L's, I took a couple L's, but Lennon lives. Most ill at night of them all will not take its toll on my soul. I won't stand in a stall or stroll in a lull. Refill my ink well, cause I ink well. Never shill, still got enough cool skill to foot the bill and ball. Point of it all, I'm in it for the long haul, till the final curtain call. I got will toil and till the soil until I fill my billfold and win my windfall. But like a llama, I took a couple L's, can't win them all. F's and A's, even though I fall, still I stand tall. I will not dwell in hell, a million stories to tell. I will fulfill the call. Lennon life, living life like a sprint, so I'll likely trip occasionally. Lost my baby, lost my money, lost my sanity. I was lost to the legend, thought about tossing myself off the edge to pay the ultimate cost. Yet there's a lot of life to live still, so I climb, claw, and crawl atop a tall hill. Fill my lungs and yell, Lennon lives. Let me be a better me. Let me live abundantly. Let me live divinely. I will go from listless to lively, from a low life to lion-like, from laudable to lovable, from being landlocked to limitless, from that smelly landfill to that brilliant bright limelight. Life begins with an L, it says it's lethal, it ends with an L, so we may as well fill the middle well. Learn to be logical, climb atop a dollar level, sing from our souls and let it be lyrical. Took a couple L's, I took a couple L's, I took a couple L's, but Lennon lives. Took a couple L's, I took a couple L's, I took a couple L's, but Lennon lives.
So, I've come here to the Terrebonne Pioneer Cemetery, surprise, surprise, to talk about death. And by the way, not all of my vlogs are going to be this dark, but I wanted to start off this new series by really outlining my why in life. And the why is to live my best life possible. Thousands of individuals who were on their deathbed in hospice and about to die were interviewed to ask them if they had any regrets in life. And if so, what did they regret? The number one regret of the dying is that I wish I had the courage to live a life true and authentic to myself rather than the life that others expected of me. So this brings us back to the fear of death versus the fear of life and the fear of our own greatness. And if that is the number one regret of the dying, then it seems that most individuals who have regrets towards the end of their life, it is because they have not lived with that fear of death in their lives, right? They've been more afraid of life than they have of death. The ancient Stoic philosophers practiced something called Memento Mori, men like Marcus Aurelius. And Memento Mori literally means remember death. And more specifically, to remember our own deaths, to remember that we are all going to die, that me as an individual, that I will die. And they recommend meditating upon our own deaths. And I know that that can be taboo in our lives to talk about, and it can also be very anxiety-inducing to think about our death often. But it can also be a great source of motivation, and it can move us away from that fear of death into life, to live fully. By practicing Memento Mori, it really helps put everything in perspective. If you are afraid to ask a girl out or a guy out, and you think to yourself, Memento Mori, I'm going to die, and then you put this fear you have in comparison to the fear of death, well, everything pales in comparison to the fear of death. So remember death and then make your move. You want to start a new business? Memento Mori, remember death, start your business. You want to do solo traveling around the world, but you're kind of a little bit afraid to do it, Memento Mori. You only live once. Remember death. Go have your grand adventure. So by remembering our own deaths, it helps to put everything in perspective, because nothing is as scary as death. But it also helps us to create a sense of urgency in our lives, because we never know when our time comes. We could die at any moment. I have somewhere in this cemetery, I have a friend who passed unexpectedly. And I've had many, many friends actually who've already died. And I like to believe that I'm going to live a long life, but we never know for sure. And since I have personally decided that I am going to live, my only option is to try to live an exceptional life. Otherwise, I think I will be miserable. And so I'm all in. And therefore, I contemplate my own death to create a sense of urgency in my life and to take bold action. And I think that Memento Mori does at least one more thing, which is it helps us to create a vision for our lives. By remembering that our time will eventually come, we are inspired to think strategically about the use of our time and how we will live our lives to the utmost and to the fullest. And for me, I really can't think of anything more fun to do than to try to be a rap star and to be a social entrepreneur and to make a difference with my words and to do something that's really fun, but also really meaningful, hopefully, to the lives of others as well. Back to the turbo as promised. I've got the big send-off awaiting.
Yo, I am on a mission to be a musician. I trust my intuition, it put me in position. I made the decision, now I'm going all in. I will be a rap star, or die trying. Look, mama, cause I'm a rap star. Fast like an Impala, sports car. Stamina, I'm gonna go far. Cause mama, I am a rap star. I will make a difference with these bars I'm spitting. It's a new beginning, revving up my engine, going for the distance, running like a cow engine. I'll see it all, I'll be it all, I'll take it all, then risk it all. I'll tag on every wall. Lennon was here, mark on every stall. Lennon was here, I'll carve on every tree. Lennon was here, they will remember me. Who? Lennon was here. And for my eulogy, humanity will say of me, he did a lot. He shot his shot, he made a mark, he gave, he got, he had a heart, he made some art, he wrote a plot, he played his part, he lived a hero's journey with a really epic story arc. Look, mama, cause I'm a rap star. Fast like an Impala, sports car. Stamina, I'm gonna go far. Cause mama, I am a rap star.
Hey, so thank you for hanging with me. If you found this video inspiring, please share it with somebody else. Hey. Thank you so much for hanging with me. Please share this video with somebody else who might find it inspiring. Like and subscribe. I'm going to be doing a lot more content going forward. That's a wrap.
Rap star.